BJ Mafia was popping. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be taking on the Atlanta Falcons in a Week 4 London showdown across the pond. The Atlanta Falcons come into this matchup 2-1, coming off their first loss of the season at Ford Field, where they lost to the Detroit Lions in Week 3, 6-20, and the offense was extremely lethargic and did not look the part. Very similar to how the Jaguars looked in their Week 3 performance. The Jaguars are coming off 2 straight losses. They just lost in Week 3 in a game that I had the unfortunate pleasure of being at, to the Houston Texans, 37-17. I'm still not emotionally over it. But you know what? The Jags are going to be looking to get back into the win column. They're going to be looking to go 2-2, and they're going to be trying to come back to America 3-2, because the Jaguars are now going to be celebrating 10 years of international play in London. Now they're going to be playing 2 games this season in back-to-back weeks in London, where the Jags will play in Week 4 versus the Atlanta Falcons and Week 5 versus the Buffalo Bills. Same thing for the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to be looking to get back into the win column. They're going to be looking to improve to 3-1, heading back to the United States after this Sunday matchup. But for the Jaguars and the Falcons, I think that there's a lot of intriguing things to look at with this matchup. And like I do for every single preview and recap video, I'll always talk about the opponent first that's going to come with the Atlanta Falcons. I'll talk about them on both sides of the ball. Then I'll flip it over to the Jaguars, and at the very end, I'll kind of give my final thoughts and verdict with the entirety of the game and what my thoughts are going to be for it. But before I get talking about the Atlanta Falcons, if you guys please could, go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second, and it helps me in the channel out tremendously. If you guys are also new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned, so you can stay tuned for more Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But Jags and Falcons fans, let's actually get into this preview matchup. And I want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons first and foremost. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm sure a lot of Falcons fans can agree with this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't really care. I'm just going to speak my mind. I think that Desmond Ridder, second-year quarterback, is being extremely undervalued right now. Now, I just want to point out that Arthur Smith, I think, has a lot of work to do when it comes to the development of Desmond Ridder. Now, this is really his first opportunity in the NFL to really showcase his talents, right? Because him coming out of Cincinnati, he was a huge reason why that Cincinnati team was extremely successful just a couple of seasons ago. Last season, in his rookie year, he didn't really get much opportunity to shine and really showcase his talents because of Marcus Mariota. Now Desmond Ridder with another offseason, a full offseason, knowing that he's going to be the full-time starting quarterback, actually had a training camp, had an offseason, had OTAs to prepare for this. And I think the talent's there. I think that the capabilities, the arm talent, and the poise in the pocket is there. Now, obviously, like I said, Arthur Smith has to do a better job of developing him, schematically getting this guy in the right situations. But when you go back and watch the tape, like I've done on numerous occasions on this kid, the talent's there, right? I know Desmond Ridder comes into this week 4 with 553 yards passing, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's got a quarterback rating of a 37, scale of 0 to 100, which is ranked 29th among all NFL quarterbacks. But when you go back and you actually watch what Desmond Ridder's done, I think that the talent is there, right? There are things schematically that they need to do a better job of utilizing him in a lot of play action bootleg, get him out of the pocket, move the pocket, but he's got the ability to heave that ball down the field. He's got pinpoint accuracy, I think, when you talk about his ability to get it down the field, but it's just gonna keep coming with time, right? There's times where he overthinks it. He doesn't sling the ball right there when the read is there, and there are opportunities down the field where he looks like he's able to make a play and put the ball in a position for a receiver to go up and make a play, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. I just had to say my piece about Desmond Ridder. I don't think he's gonna be a great quarterback this season. I think with time and with the right coaching, he's got especially the skill position players around him to be successful. Hopefully just not this week versus my Jaguars. But let's talk about the rest of this Atlanta Falcons offense, man. Bijan Robinson, top 10 pick in this year's draft. He's kind of gotten off to an up and down start because he's really splitting a lot of these carries with Tyler Algier, and he's done a great job being a 1-2, punch in the backfield with Bijan Robinson and Algier. You've got Kyle Pitts, former number 3 overall pick from the University of Florida, who's been not utilized properly since coming into the league, and obviously everyone agrees he's got superb talent. This guy with the right coach and the right quarterback throwing him the ball over time is going to be a lethal threat at the tight end position. This guy's really a one-trick pony, and he's truly something special. He just needs to be put in a better position to succeed, or schematically needs to be utilized in a better way. Drake London is a very good receiver. Cordell Patterson, even though he's dealing with a thigh injury, I think he's actually listed as questionable for this game. We know the kind of dynamic player that he can be coming out of the backfield, lining up out wide. He can do a lot of great things. But the weakest point with this Falcons offense is with that offensive line. Desmond Ridder has been sacked 12 times, which is 4th most among all NFL quarterbacks so far. They've got to do a better job of protecting their young quarterback. And defensively for the Atlanta Falcons, this was a horrible defensive unit last year. They've taken a big step up through the first 3 weeks so far this season. If I remember correctly, I believe that they are the number 8 scoring defense in the NFL as of right now, and they've got a superb amount of young talent, especially in that secondary. When you look at Jeff Okudah, who I believe made his season debut last weekend versus the Detroit Lions, where he got traded from this offseason. You look at Richie Grant as a safety who I really wanted in the draft a couple of seasons ago from the University of Central Florida. You've got Jesse Bates, who's accounted for 4 of the Atlanta Falcons' 4 takeaways this season. He's got 3 interceptions to 1 forced fumble. AJ Terrell's obviously one of the better young cover corners in the game of football. And you still got other great players like an aging Calais Campbell, Grady Jarrett, the list goes on. Even a Bud Dupree can still be a very serviceable guy. The Atlanta Falcons defense has taken a major step up. You got to give a lot of props where it's due. But I think the biggest thing that you're going to want to exploit with this Atlanta Falcons defense, from me going back and watching the tape, is it's going to be with a lot of misdirection, and it's going to be with the middle of the field. Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk in the slot, they're going to eat over the middle of the field. That's something I'll get into in a bit. But let me now talk about the Jaguars, right? The Jaguars are coming off an extremely emotional and just putrid loss to the Houston Texans. They didn't even put up a dogfight, which is what, it felt like. The Jags were shut out in the first half, 17-0. The Jaguars made it an interesting game. They made it 10-17 before the Houston Texans made it 24-10, and then essentially the Jaguars' fate was sealed. The Jaguars need attention to detail. Pay attention to the little things. Make sure Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, and this offense is consistently moving the ball and finishing plays, not getting in the way of themselves as they would use, like they said in the press game post-conference, right? Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, and all of the skill position guys need to do a better job of cohesively working together as a unit, right? The Jaguars are number 1 in the NFL in drops so far. Calvin Ridley has 4 drops so far. Tank Bigsby has 2. I believe Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk also have a drop in there as well too. The Jaguar skill position players have the talent. I've seen the capabilities of what they're capable of doing. They need to do a better job of finishing plays and paying attention to the small and minor details. I believe in Calvin Ridley. I believe in Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, this entire offense. I believe in all of these guys. They just need to go out there and execute a little bit better. Now, while the Jaguars' offensive line has been extremely shaky through the first 3 weeks, they did not allow a sack last weekend versus the Houston Texans. But I know that they still need to do a better job, because when Trevor Lawrence is protected and he's clean in the pocket, there's a significant difference with his completion percentage, his quarterback rating, and his ability to get the ball and push the ball down the field. And Trevor Lawrence has all of the talent in the world. He just needs to do a better job of, sometimes taking the check down, sometimes taking the easy read, which is there, and he does need to do a better job of that. But also, like I said, the guys around him need to do a better job of actually finishing these plays and actually hauling the ball in or holding onto the ball. You guys know what I'm referring to. But with the Jaguars backfield, I think Etienne is going to have another big game. Like I said, I think the way you're going to have to exploit Atlanta's defense is to use a lot of misdirection. That's obviously going to have to come with a lot of play action bootleg from Travis Etienne, getting Trevor out of the pocket, but also being able to work that middle of the field when you get tight end Evan Ingram coming across the middle, or even Christian Kirk on a lot of rub routes. I can see the Jaguars offense utilizing that a lot. So look, if you're betting this weekend, if you're a betting man, take Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram on the over. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. Now flipping into the defensive side of the ball for the Jaguars, they need to do a better job. They got absolutely picked apart by a rookie quarterback in CJ Stroud, who's been phenomenal through 3 weeks, but nonetheless, a very good defense got picked apart by a rookie quarterback last weekend. Tank Dell burned us. The Jaguars need to do a better job. Desmond Ridder's got the arm talent. It hasn't been all the way there yet, but they need to take advantage of Desmond Ridder and this offensive line that's allowed 12 sacks so far to their young quarterback. I need to see Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, while they were creating pressure last weekend, finish the plays. The Jags got 0 sacks on the Houston Texans last weekend. The Jaguars defense in the front seven needs to do a much better job of generating pressure, getting home to Desmond Ridder, and finishing the plays. The Jaguars had 6 takeaways through the first 2 weeks of the season. They had 0 in week 3. Get back to playing opportunistic defense, get some takeaways, create some fumbles, get some interceptions, and do a much better job of actually putting the offense in a position to be successful and flipping field position, generating that momentum. Even when you're not at home, you still need to go out there on the football field and still need to be able to do that. I think the Jaguars are going to be playing a lot of man coverage this weekend, and I can see the Jaguars really getting after Bijan Robinson and Algier in the backfield, really limiting those guys, and they're really going to force Desmond Ridder to try to beat them with their arm, and we're going to have to see how Arthur Smith and that Atlanta Falcons offense kind of draws that up. Now, really kind of getting to my final verdict with this game, I do think that the Jaguars get back on track. They're a lot more focused after that embarrassing loss to the Houston Texans, and I think they end up squeaking out a win. I think that this is still going to be a very close game because the Falcons have the capabilities of running the ball, even though the Jaguars have a very good run defense. I think that they're going to utilize Algier and Bijan Robinson a lot out of the backfield, try to keep the time of possession on their hands, but I do think ultimately the Jaguars are going to be able to pull away at the end. Expect a big game and a huge game from Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, and Christian Kirk. I like the Jaguars offense to kind of get back into the mix and into the run of things and feel a lot more fluid moving forward. I think the Jaguars are only favored 3.5 this game from the last time that I checked. I think the Jaguars covered the spread. I got the Jaguars winning this game by a lone touchdown. I like Jacksonville to win this game 21-28. Jacksonville desperately needs this win. This fan base needs this win. And I think the Jaguars get back to 500, and then they'll be looking forward to week 5 versus the Buffalo Bills. But Jags fans and Falcons fans, let me know a bold take, and also let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think is going to actually happen this upcoming Sunday? And make sure you guys also drop me a score prediction in the comments down below. But Jags fans and Falcons fans, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys actually go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me and the channel out tremendously. If you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. Go Jags.